Hey guys, Tony here, CCxRC. As you can tell, we've got something really big for you here on the bench. The Losi DBXLE, the Desert Buggy XL Electric, and it's 1/5 scale. It's huge, it's massive, and we're going to be looking at it today. We're not going to do all the pulling the stuff out of the box because it was already unboxed on the shelf at the Hobbytown when I went there today. And they only had one of them because they don't want to stock a bunch of these at the price that they come in at. So they had one on the shelf. They put it in the box. So I don't know that that's how it was in the box anyway. So we've got the controller and the things that came with it. And so we'll take a look at all of that right after the break. Alright, so this is really tough. As beautiful as the truck is, and as much as we want to get in and look inside it, we're going to wait and just get through some of the smaller things here on the bench first that came in the box. We'll start here with the manual. The manual is basically like a magazine. It's really well put together. Nice glossy cover that's thick. And it's got a whole bunch of just different tips and tricks on vehicle tuning, how to adjust your camber, what the settings are out of the factory. It's going to have the parts explosions and diagrams on how to assemble and put things together, how to use the controller and what all the system is. So it's a very, very useful tool, and you should keep this around. So let's move here to this massive lug wrench to get these big tires off of here. I mean, that is a very, very large nut on that tire. I don't actually know what the size is on that. But very big, and actually look, you'll notice that these are beadlock wheels on here. We'll come back to that. So it's also got an Allen on one end, and basically your turnbuckle adjustment, it looks like is what this would be. It would fit on here like so to be able to make adjustments to your turnbuckles, and it's got another little tool possibly here. 4 hex wrenches, Allen wrenches. And then batteries, not LiPos to run it, but it does have AA's to power your controller. That takes 4, and is definitely less than what you'd expect to come with this very expensive $1,000 RC car. I got a better controller with my Losi back there on the shelf, the SCTE10. So yeah, it was kind of shocking. I mean, there's no rubber on this controller. It's just kind of a really plastic feeling wheel. Overall, I mean, it does feel all right in your hand. And I guess, you know, they probably figure that somebody that would be buying this might already have a better system that they're going to use anyway. And so they don't want to waste money putting in an expensive controller that then the cost is incurred by the purchaser. So maybe this would have been a more expensive car. I don't know. So, but anyway, this does have AVC control, which is basically your steering intelligence, throttle intelligence that it has built in to help it stay planted better and drive straighter. And you can adjust how much or how little assistance you want there. It's got throttle trim to set what is the 0 on the throttle. Steering, same. Set your 0 on your steering. On-off, bind button, and then your reverses. So if you hit the throttle and it goes the wrong way, you just switch the throttle reverse up here and it'll fix things. So all in all, it's, you know, pretty simple remote. Nothing to write home about. Not terrible. A little bit terrible, but not too terrible. So let's look at the car. Let's start on the outside. I mean, it's a beautiful looking rig. I love, actually, on this one, the color scheme. This is the first I'd actually seen it like this. So maybe this is a newer paint job that they've got for these, because I'd seen it with yellow before. I'd seen it with red. And so the gray blue is kind of new to me. I like it. It caught my eye at Hobbytown, right next to the blue X-maxx. And this was longer and looked bigger. So we're looking at the outside. We kind of caught the tires before. These are Maxxis. These are their creepy crawler tires. Very, very nice tires for a stock vehicle out of the box like this, ready to run. They are, it looks like beadlocks based on what I can see here. Again, I haven't seen too much on this yet. I did some research on them before. It was on my wish list, and It's kind of a spur of the moment thing, and seeing my buddy Josh there working there and him saying, dude, you should totally get this. So look at the size of these shocks. I mean, even compared to the X-maxx, and I thought the X-maxx shocks were huge. These look like they're double the size of the X-maxx shocks. They're huge. Turnbuckles are massive on here. I mean, the ends on these are the size of my pinky finger, just about. I mean, they're just really beefy. So the drive shaft's coming through here. Got these nice rubber covers on them. Metal. I don't think you even get metal on the X-maxxes. You don't get adjustability like this that you're getting here. You got the plastic, but really beefy bumper. Heavy duty light bar up on the top. I don't typically like lights on my cars. I know I'm one of the few people that say that. For one, when you're filming, they kind of cause a lot of flares and stuff like that. But I also tend to just break them all the time or cut the wires, and I don't like having to deal with the wiring and all that. So anyway, state of the outside. Look at here. Our C-hub carriers on here are nice and chunky. You know, everything's just beefy on this, right down to the arms here in the front. We'll look to the back. We'll look at the wing. Wing is just really thick, rigid plastic. The body is using panels. It's a paneled system that's screwed on. Again, I really like the paint job on this. Funny note, we were looking at this car at the shop, and we were looking in the inside, and because it was on the shelf, and took out the body pins, and they never made it back with me. So I'll have to find some, which, believe it or not, you'd think I'd have a ton, but I tend to lose those things. I got slippery fingers. But the guys in here look decent, you know, just scale little drivers. Not anything crazy. Lots of room back here to put my speed tester when we do a speed test on this, because it boasts speeds of over 50 miles an hour, and it's 8S capable. So we'll talk about some of those systems and the things in here in just a second. What I really want to point out, and something I really like, is the accessibility of the inside of this. It's got a flip top on it with just those two body clips. Not as great as the, well, we'll see. I love the X-maxx system with that little device that they came up with for getting your body on and off. That's great. This, you know, maybe it'll make it stay on more. I do have it pop off the X-maxx every once in a while. Doesn't bother me, but it does happen. Man, this stuff is all just really thick plastic. It looks like it can take a beating. So I'm seeing here, these are plastic flares on the side here. They're just kind of like additional pieces, and there's a aluminum 4mm thick aluminum chassis running the bottom of this thing here. You can see all the screws that are in there. Really beefy. Got battery tray front and back of the chassis here. We'll go around it now. This is the Dynamite Fuse. It's 160 amp ESC 8S capable, waterproof. I love it. It's running these EC5 connectors, which is problematic for me because I don't have anything on EC5. So I did have to incur an additional cost and buy adapters. I'm going to run it on 6S because that's what I have right now from my X-maxx. And so I'm going to actually convert those batteries to EC5, and I'll probably actually convert my X-maxx as well to the EC5. You just get better amp current through these bigger connectors like this. So anyway, in here it looks like a motor, but it's not. This is their aluminum center diff. That thing looks mad cool. Maybe we'll get a better view of it from the other side, but you can see it in there. It's ribbed. It looks like the motor, but it's black and silver. So that's something new that they did. You've got these massive metal drive shafts running down through the center here into the center diff and out. Again, there's this huge motor. Man, look at that. That thing is like the size of a Monster energy drink. I heard somebody say a Red Bull, but that is a bigger, that's a much bigger diameter, I think, than a Red Bull can. It's actually probably very comparable to a Coke can, maybe a little taller. I wish I had one for reference. I missed it over here. There's a on-off switch right here and a set switch for your ESC. I just kind of glazed over that when I started seeing all this other stuff in here. So, metal gears, of course, spur gears, metal. Something this beefy is going to need that. So the motor here is a Dynamite Fuse 800 kV motor, which it says on there, but it's kind of hard to see. We're running the Losi S900S steering servo with this nice metal horn on it, going out to the steering system here, all very, very beefy. That's the word to describe this thing. I mean, the shock towers, they're plastic, but they're beefy and they're going to give a little, which I like. Look at the size. I mean, look at the size of those shocks. Aluminum shocks. Very just plush, very nice feeling. You can take a look here at the back differential, all enclosed in here with this chassis brace. You've got another one here in the front. And it looks like it connects, maybe there's a plate here. No, your chassis does run solid through underneath this, which is good. We'll flip it over and try and take a look at that. So we've got sway bars that run out and around front and rear here. I'm trying not to miss anything. I keep seeing stuff, guys. I'm just so excited going through this. We've got a receiver box over here. All this stuff is, all the electronics are waterproof. So your Spectrum AVC system here. I'll probably end up binding this to my DX4R Pro, whatever. I'm not good with those numbers and names and stuff of that, guys. It's one of the nicer ones that came out a year or two ago, a couple years ago. They've since upgraded, but I haven't needed to upgrade mine. It's working just fine. You can see here the wire. That's the one thing, again, with lights that I don't love, but they've traced it pretty well here. They've got it clipped in. Everything's really nicely managed inside. It's very clean. It's very open. Lots of rooms for leaves and acorns and debris and all that to sit in there. But it'll also be very easy to blow it out with an air hose. So, man, what am I missing about this car? Let's take a look. Let's flip it up so we can see the underside of it real quick here. Alright, so here is the bottom of the chassis. You can see the aluminum. You can actually see the metal spur inside of there. All of these are recessed hexes, and like I said, it's a single solid piece here of 4mm aluminum for the chassis. Got a little bit of a chunk taken out of mine already. That's minor compared to what will happen with it once I get it out and I start running it. The body and everything fit on here really well. Here we can see the inside of the tires with another bead that's screwed all around them. Yeah, let's set this back down here. It's about 27 pounds without batteries in it. It's a little bit of a tight fit up here in the front to get that down and on there. But yeah, it's a good looking truck. Or buggy, I guess I should say. So the next thing I've just got to do is get some batteries set up to handle it. So it does have AVC in it to help adjust the throttle and steering. It just does minimal adjustments or minor little tweaks as you're all on the throttle to try and help your tires hook up better instead of spinning out and going nuts. Steering, it tries to keep you in a straight line, so when you're doing that 50 plus miles an hour, you're not all over the road. It tries to adjust and keep it straight from where you had it pointing, which I think is a good thing. Some people call it cheating. I'm okay with it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. They've done some, revisions, they said, to their shocks. It's got independent suspension, which I think was obvious when we were taking a look around it. So it does have oil filled with these springs on the exterior of the shocks. They are adjustable here. They're threaded bodies, and yeah, it looks really good. It's longer than the X-maxx, so if we put them side by side, it actually kind of looks bigger than it. Let me just put it up here and see if I have enough room on my table. Alright, so as you can see, they're very similar in size. I think the Losi is a little bit longer wheelbase for sure, but the X-maxx sits higher. But overall, they're very, very comparable in their size. And we'll show you a couple things, though, that are just beefier on the Losi. When you're looking at the shocks, at the size of this shock compared to the size of this shock, I mean, this thing is just so much bigger around. Inside here, we have plastic non-adjustable links. So it's little things like that. However, you know, the chassis on this and some of the ingenuity and stuff that they put into this Traxxas chassis, I think, are pretty cool. My X-maxx is telling this Losi, run away, run away. This guy's gonna destroy you. So, but yeah, I mean, this is all plastic, but it's made in such a way that it's just really strong and it takes a beating. So there's some differences in that, but I think overall they're both really great looking trucks. This one not so much at the moment. This one just looks new, but just, you know, bigger wheel stuff here. The motor's much bigger. Well, it's at least longer, but yeah, I mean, we'll see how it handles. I've seen a few videos on it. I saw Gary over at Killer Off-Road Hobbies had been jumping and bashing one and was having a really good time with it. I saw somebody doing some off of some BMX jumps, off of big BMX jumps, and it was crazy. I would be afraid to actually jump this one that way, but probably will end up doing it. Well, that's all I've got for you today, guys. The Losi DBXLE is now here at the CCxRC show. You're going to see it bashing. You're going to see it jumping. You're going to see us having a lot of fun with this and this. And side by side, hopefully we'll get these out and just do some fun runs. This has been my favorite RC that I've ever owned. We'll see how this stacks up. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up button. If you like the video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and hit that little bell and you'll get notifications when we post new videos on YouTube that are all RC related, guys. So have fun RC and we'll catch you next time.